Welcome back to Xbox Corner, my name's Luke, and we're into the last week of March, and so today we're bringing you the last roundup of Game Pass titles, and this week is a bit of a shorter one with only 5 new titles, but there's a pretty decent selection covering a variety of genres. Now if you missed any of this month's previous roundups, including what titles will be leaving the platform at the end of the month, you'll find a link to those videos in the description box below. For now though, hit that like button to support the channel, subscribe to keep up to date with all our latest deals, reviews and Game Pass content, and let's get into it. So our first new Game Pass title today then is a Memoir Blue, and this one is advertised as an interactive poem about a superstar athlete and the all-encompassing love between a mother and daughter. Now this one comes to us from publisher Annapurna Interactive, and from the sounds of things its gameplay concept is kind of along the same lines as Lost Words Beyond the Page, insofar that you'll be following the game's protagonist, Miriam, on a magical journey through her memories. Through a series of vignettes you'll get to experience her relationship with her mother from her childhood through to her turbulent teens, and just like Lost Pages, this one looks set to offer a rollercoaster of emotions. From what I hear though, it's also a relatively short game, so you should be able to fit it in between other games, and if you're in the mood for a story-driven tearjerker and can spare a couple of hours, then a Memoir Blue should fit the bill nicely. Next up we have one for all you point-and-click adventure fans out there, as PC Game Pass subscribers can now dive into Norco, a stylish looking pixel adventure game set around the sinking suburbs and industrial swamps of an alternative future South Louisiana. A day one release for PC Game Pass, Norco sees you playing as Kay, a woman on a mission to reconnect with her little broski Blake, who after the death of your mother has gone AWOL, but your simple search and rescue mission quickly spirals off course as you follow a fugitive security guard through suburban New Orleans, encounter a teen cult, and engage with the high profile executives of the region's notorious oil refinery. This one though seems to have been placed by many into the same category as Kentucky Route Zero and Night in the Woods, and similarly it's very much a blend between classic and contemporary point-and-click adventure games, with its narrative covering some very relatable and often difficult to broach subject matter. Visually, the game also looks phenomenal, with some hyper-detailed pixel art to feast your eyeballs on, and the sound design is also supposed to be top-notch, with an awesome post-industrial electronica soundtrack. All in all, if you're into the point-and-click adventure games, this one looks like a real tight one for fans of the genre. So as fans of Codemasters' F1 racing sim eagerly await the next entry in the series, they're no doubt still hammering F1 2021, and if you too have been wanting to get in on that action but haven't had the cash to splash, then you'll be happy to hear that it's now available on EA Play, which if you didn't know comes as part of Game Pass Ultimate. Now I know Alex is big into his F1 games and racing games in general, and on several occasions he's mentioned that F1 2021 is top quality stuff, and he also covered the PS5 version of the game, so I'll leave a link to his review on this in the comments section below. Being more into arcade races though, I haven't personally given this one a go yet, but the game has a ton of returning features such as the acclaimed 10-year career mode, time trials and Grand Prix modes, as well as a whole new story experience entitled Breaking Point, and if you're looking for some multiplayer action there's also 2-player career mode, which alongside split screen and online multiplayer offers plenty of social interaction. If you're into your racing games though, especially ones which are more simulation like, then this one's definitely a solid option. So one of the big ones this week then, at least for the strategy game fans amongst us, is Crusader Kings 3, which after making its debut a couple of years ago on PC and being available on PC Game Pass for a while, is finally making its way to the Xbox Series X and S. Releasing to critical acclaim and rated as one of the best grand strategy games of all time, Crusader Kings 3 sees you taking on the role of a medieval ruler and charts your rise to glory, as generation after generation you strive to conquer your enemies through diplomacy, deceit or pure military force. The unique thing about this one though is that you do actually get to play through multiple generations, with your family's heir replacing the existing ruler upon their death, though the abilities and interests of the new leader may be very different, which keeps things fresh and forces you to frequently adapt your playstyle. Now there's so much going on with the mechanics in this one that we could probably dedicate a whole video to it, but just know that if you're new to the series or strategy games in general, Crusader Kings 3 is apparently the most accessible game to date, so if you were maybe feeling a little intimidated by having to learn a ton of different things before you could actually enjoy the game, then you needn't be afraid to dip into this one when it releases on the 29th of March. Our final game today then is probably the one that I'm looking most forward to, as we see Weird West hit Game Pass day 1 on the 31st of March. Published by Devolver Digital and co-created by the developers of the Dishonored and Prey games, Weird West is an immersive sandbox sim set in a dark fantasy world in which Wild West gunslingers share the frontier alongside fantastical creatures including werewolves and pigmen. In an unusual twist for the genre though, Weird West sees you playing as not one, but 5 different characters, whose journeys through the world take them in different directions, but eventually converge in the game's final chapters. Now, how you actually reach this endpoint is entirely up to you. You could for instance form a posse and venture out alongside a few allies, or instead ride out solo as a lone gunslinger. But the choices that you make in the game have an impact not only on the characters and factions that you meet, but also on the locations that you visit, making each playthrough a unique experience. The game's also sporting a fantastic visual style, which to me reminded me of Darkest Dungeon, and I'm personally looking forward to giving Weird West a go when it hits Game Pass at the end of the month. And so that just about does it for another month of Game Pass, and we definitely had some solid releases in March, but which of them have you been playing, and will you be checking out any of this week's releases? Let us know down in the comments section below. As always, we'll be back next month to announce a fresh new lineup of games, which should hopefully be just as tasty. But until then, don't forget to hit that like button if you found this video helpful, subscribe to stay up to date with our latest deals, reviews, Game Pass content and graphical comparisons, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks everyone, take care.